8 o'clock on a well, it's not very cool. It's cool and nice. I'm still wearing a t-shirt and shorts and things, but I'm gonna make a fire and sit next to it while contemplating what I'm gonna do for the rest of the day. Okay, the wood is nice and wet, so you can hear it sizzling, but hopefully it will catch quickly. I don't have any kindling in there, only fire lighters, but that normally works quite well. And if you struggle to get the fire going, add more fire lighters. Okay, I'm gonna do as little as possible today, so nothing too productive. But I think I'm gonna make a stew on my little gas stove, the thing I showed you previously. Yes, I did show you this thing previously, so I'm gonna use this to make a stew today. I think that's a nice plan. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. The second bag of wood is pretty much burned to its completion. I'm sitting here with my little footsies next to it, but it's getting nice now, so I don't really need it anymore. My wife was sitting next to it, so this was a success. Although she did think up 25 things for me to do while we were sitting here. I had to sand wooden door frames and re-stain them. I had to fix a door on a cupboard in my kids' room. I had to go sort out her battery because, yeah, the car was only bought in 2019, but apparently the battery is dead now. Yeah, all kinds of magical things. Oh, and I had to give the hamster water. Oh, my life is such a chore. It's time. Let's make stew. Now, we're going to be using a stock pot. We're going to be using my dogma, 1 tomato, some oil, 2 cans of beans, black beans in brine. It doesn't matter the brand. I have some onions that I cut with my dogma. This thing is awesome. Hollow ground sliciness. We have some diced bacon, and then we have this little thing which you can check the video on. This thing is awesome, that thing. And then we have this pot. Okay, now it came with this lid, oven proof. Okay, now at the bottom it only says number 3, but the nice thing about this pot is that your normal issue standard Falkirk lid fits on it perfectly. Okay, which means this is a thick piece of cast iron, this pot. Okay, again, this thing is sturdy enough to take that, this little whatever thing. So yes, if you want to use this outdoors, I'm gonna take this, but if I want to use it at home, I'm gonna use this thin little lid because it's thin and easy and it doesn't burn your hands when you pick it up. Otherwise you have to put a little, what do you call it, piece of wire or whatever on there to make it work. Okay, so let's start making this stew. First I'm gonna add some oil, and then my onions, and then my bamboo wooden spoon. I'll show you now, one-handed. I'm doing this alone. So let's start this thing. First we're gonna open the gas. Is it on yet? Okay, it's on. And now we're gonna wait for the oil to start doing something before we add our onions. And while we are waiting for this to start doing something, you never actually have to worry about this getting hot because there's no heat over here. Okay, the heat goes to the top because flames burn towards the top, and your canister is perfectly fine over there. Otherwise, just aim it towards a neighbor or a camper that you don't like, and then if it explodes, the tomato is not there to try and stop it. The tomato is just there. Okay, anyway, so we're still waiting for oil. Okay, normally I would add sugar and salt in here, but I'm not doing it now. Yes. Wait for them to sweat. I'm adding my lid just to sweat this for a second, because Actually, I'm sitting here drinking beer, so I'm not in a hurry. But hey, this thing is going awesome. This cast iron pot is working fantastically, and the family already ate whatever they ate. But we're gonna eat this in a little while. Okay, so while I am doing my stew, I have these two relaxing tortoises over here. Look at them. Relaxing, legs out, like people on the beach. Just chilling. Chilling. Yes, wink at us. Okay, so I just added the bacon. It's diced bacon. I normally do not like this, and I normally do not buy this, but my wife bought it. And yeah, it works well if you give it enough love. And my pot is extremely stable. If you see shaky things, it's because of my stupid table. Because the pot is fine. It's the table. It's a plastic, like camping, outdoor, whatever table. And oh, sorry, that was me hitting the camera with the spoon. And by camera, I mean the phone that I'm holding in my other hand trying to see this. Anyway, so the little stove thingy, even with this heavy cast iron pot on it, it is extremely stable. Sharp. I'll show you again when we do something else. Okay, I'm waiting for things to start browning now. The onions are pretty soft. The bacon is in there, so we're waiting for it to brown before we add the tomato. Okay, time to add the tomato. I'm just taking this out. You don't have to. I'm doing it. I have tortoises that will eat that thing. But you can eat it yourself. Okay. I really need to sharpen my little whatchamacallit again. But luckily, tomatoes are very forgiving once they are inside the pot. Okay, I see my wife is giving you extreme close-up, which I suppose is good. Now you can see the inside of the tomato as I am cutting it. You see the tomato, you see whatever. Okay, like I said, extreme close-up. Yes, I need to sharpen this thing again, or at least strop it, because before we went on holiday, I exclusively used this knife for everything. And it is a fantastic knife, the little Civivi Dogma. You can actually use it for everything, always. I cannot remember the blade steel, go recheck that video. But fantastic little knife. Okay. I cannot remember if it was on Futurama or wherever they said something about smell-o-vision. But if you had smell-o-vision, this would already smell fantastic, because it does. Okay. I'm gonna add a stock pot now already. One of these. It's a Knorr stock, but it's these slimy little things. But it's fantastic. So I'm gonna add that now, and then I will bring you back when we start adding the tins of beans. Okay, I am bringing you back now already, because I want to show you this little slimy thing. This is awesome. This thing dissolves in there, and then it's like as if you have added actual stock in this thing. Okay, before we add the beans, I think we're gonna add the beans and then the potatoes at the end. Yes, it sounds weird, but the potatoes are actually on my fire that I used to keep myself warm this morning. So the potatoes should be partially boiled or close to boiled already. Well, they've been boiling for a while. I don't know how far that is, but I'm gonna add them, well, cut them, then add them, and then it should be fantastic. Okay, look at all of the juice that came out of the tomato. It's like already kind of boiling. Ah, okay, there we go. Boiling away, making things delicious. Pro tip, if you are using cans of beans, shake them vigorously in all directions and then leave them upside down so that none of the good stuff sticks to the bottom, so that when you open them and you chuck them in, we don't have that awesome beanie residue sticking to that side. Okay, the tomatoes are pretty much done. They are falling apart. Everything is getting nice and oily instead of watery. So it's time for me to add the beans before I add the, what's that stuff? Potatoes that will eat up all the sauce. And then we will add water. That water that I've covered so nicely with my little pouch from my little stove. So I'm taking my upside down cans, giving them a last shake, like maracas. Can you see the tomatoes pretty much dissolved in there? Okay. Life's great because we have these wonderful cans these days that do not need can openers. Yes, you can take that out if you want to. I think I will for today. Normally, oh, maybe I'm gonna put it back. Normally we need this stuff for iron. I'm kidding, it's tin. You're not gonna get a lot of iron from that. If you want iron in your food, take something like wrought iron or something. Anyway, 2 cans of black beans in brine. And then this is nice because it's also going to loosen the bottom of your pot. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna stir that. I'm not gonna add any extra water for now. I will see what it looks like after a while. So I'm just stirring it to feel if there's any burnt goodness at the bottom, because burniness adds to taste. Unless you've burned it a lot, then it's just bitter and you are a horrible cook. Okay, so I'm gonna stir that for a second, and then I'm going to wait for a while before adding my potatoes that my awesome wife so lovingly decided to peel. Okay, so again, we're waiting for this to mingle, which means I'm finishing my beer or so, maybe 2 if I'm feeling frisky. And then I have water here to add, but we'll see. Once this has been boiled for a while, I'm gonna add the potatoes. Now, like I said, the potatoes have been boiled already on the fire. Hold on, let me show you the fire. Okay. On this fire that I used this morning to keep me warm. Now it's still smoking and it's still warm and it's still nice. It's keeping the flies away. And if you're feeling cold, because it's an overcast morning, but it's not really cold. I'm sitting here without a shirt at this stage. So the potatoes have been boiled over there. And then my wife decided to peel it, which is fantastic, because it's gonna suck up more of the moisture. Let's just feel this thing. No, still cool as all get out. Okay, so like I said, I saw some of the videos where people put weird reflective shields and things on there. You don't have to. This or these types of little stoves, like I said, look at that huge pot. It's a cast iron pot. It's a fat thing. It's a thick, look at the pot. It's a thick pot. Anyway, so this thing is sitting on there, super stable. I can stir without holding the sides. So I love this little stove. I love my Bush baby, but this thing is so much easier to carry and so much smaller. Yeah, okay. Stove, awesome. Stew is going to be more awesome. Okay, I'll show you now when I add the potatoes. Yeah, because that's the last thing. Okay, so let's see. Right. Okay, I'm using the bean brine to boil this stuff. I haven't added any water or any other moisture apart from the juice in the tomatoes and the bean brine. Okay, so well, the bottom feels pretty good. No burnt on pieces there. Just make sure. No, I feel nothing. Okay, so the bottom is fine. Let's add some potatoes. Okay, all the potatoes went in. So let's get this stuff acquainted, amalgamated, bust in, friends, whatever you want to call it. And then once they have all been in there, I'm gonna I'm gonna cover it again. And I'm going to wait for I'm gonna say a second, but I'm lying. I'm gonna wait for a while. And then I'll see what I have to do next, because tasting is the best way. Yes, oven proof. Okay, this is what this looks like now. Fantastic. And then over here I have a secret ingredient, which is like a tablespoon of peanut butter, half a stock cube, some barbecue spice, aromat. I don't know, maybe it's still Maggie Fondor where you live, but that stuff. And like 3 teaspoons of sugar. Okay, so this stuff I like, but if you don't like it, don't add it. Okay, so I'm gonna add this to my deliciousness now, but I'm also gonna add some water so that this stuff is not as thick, because it's supposed to be like something we can eat with the bread. Okay, this is hours after I've started making this. This stuff has been boiling away forever. Let's quickly just give it a stir so you can see what it looks like. The beans have given everything this dark color. The potatoes are like butter. Everything is super soft and delicious. So my stew is fantastic. Okay, well, stew, thick soup, I don't know, thin stew, whatever you want to call this, is delicious. I have taken a few bites, so it's with bamboo spoons, fantastic. But what I want to show you is this. I've seen a few channels or other YouTubers that use these kind of stoves, and they made all kinds of weird things, but this is still super cool. So I can feel the pots warm, but the actual canister is still extremely cool. So don't worry about that. Whoever designed this thing in China, or China, they knew what they were doing. This thing is fantastic. So if you ever want to use something like this, this is great. Now I even used it with a cast iron pot, just to show you that this thing is strong enough and stable enough to be used like this. Okay, I did put it on this thing, but only because my table is absolute nonsense, and the table is not even straight anymore. It's like wonky and whatnot. But anyway, this is fantastic. All of you, stay safe, happy, have a great one. Goodbye. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't done that yet.